Welcome again to Intentionalist Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Coach Alice Muhirwa. This is season 2, A Woman in Her Rebuilding Journey. In this season, we are talking about everything a woman needs to get back into her strength, to get back into her groove, to rebuild her finances, to rebuild her dream, to rebuild her strength so that she can be able to navigate life with ease and purpose. Today's conversation is going to focus on how to build back your strength, especially if you really want to age gracefully. Today's guest is an amazing friend of mine. She's a woman who champions for wellness, for strength. She's a corporate lawyer. She's known both in her enthusiasm in working with corporate and wellness. She has a master's degree in environmental studies. She has worked in, she sits on different boards both in US and in Africa. And currently, she has also been a cast in Housewife of Nairobi, season 2. She's a bodybuilder mannequin. I don't know how you call that in English. You call that word?
Competitive athlete?
Yes, competitive athlete. So she understands strength training, its benefit both on a physical and mental level. Welcome to our podcast, Ismael.
Thank you so much, Coach Alice. I'm so thankful to be here and the opportunity to share my journey, my story, and the nuggets that you want to share on this podcast.
Great. Tell me, when and why strength training?
Yes.
Or when did you realize that strength training is the thing?
Right.
Yeah.
So just to take you back, and thank you so much for the kind introduction. You know, I'm a corporate. I've been very much in my mind.
Yeah.
But very early on when I went to school here, we learned that, you know, at 3 o'clock, we'd stop school and we'd be doing some athletic endeavor.
Yes.
And so it was ingrained in me, but I'm so grateful for that experience because, you know, very early in my journey, I was always using some kind of sport to balance my mind. And now I realize it's been such an important part of my journey that many people don't actually think about why fitness is so important or doing something with your body. So why strength training? So I've been an athlete for a long time. I used to run cross country. I played squash during law school. And then I moved to the States and I took up running. So I've run 5 marathons. I took up mountaineering. I also like challenges. I know I've climbed Mount Kenya, Mount Kilimanjaro. So I'm Kenyan, but I studied in Canada and then I moved to the US. And while in the US, I was exposed to bodybuilding. I went to a show and you know, I'd never thought I wanted to do. I'd done weightlifting in my 20s in the gym because when you go to the gym, there's cardio and weightlifting. Those are the options, kind of.
Most of the time,
right? And so I tried it, and I didn't know why I was doing it. Like I didn't have the concept to really understand, and I'd really like us to do that today is understand why it's important. But when I saw this, so I didn't go into it going, oh my gosh, this is going to be the longevity hack, right? I went into it going, oh, this is another interesting challenge. I'd like to understand what this is and I'd like to do it one day. I moved back to Kenya in 2012, and at that time I had a very busy job. I came to work for a startup. I was head of legal. And it wasn't until 2014 when I'm like, I want to do bodybuilding. And I looked around and there were no women. So I'm actually a pioneer here in Kenya. And I had to hire a coach in the US. And there was fortunately a bodybuilding show that was coming to Kenya. And I thought I'm just going to try it once. And here I am 10 years later doing it. And that's really how I accidentally fell into it. And I did my first bodybuilding show and I learned this is very complicated. And there was so many different elements. But over the 10 years of doing this, I have learned so much about different diets. I mean, I've tried all these different diets, different ways of working with your body, different workout styles, understanding why you do certain workouts. And now that I sit here 10 years into the journey, you know, I've won Miss Kenya 3 times. I've competed on the international stage. I'm still competing. I just competed in Milan.
Yes, I've seen.
But now my why, at the time my why was, it's a challenge. Okay. And I started bodybuilding very late in life. It was in my 40s, right? So,
really?
Yes, it was a new challenge in my 40s. So now my why is, I'm so grateful I fell into it because it is the biggest anti-aging hack, and we only have one body. Let's be clear, right? We have one body. You can have a Gucci purse, you can have a car, you can have a house, but you only live in this body. So it is the most important thing to take care of, and make sure you take care of it for the long run.
What is one thing that you would tell women who are listening to us and still have misconceptions around strength training? Thinking that, I don't want to look masculine, I don't want to have muscles. How can we demystify strength training, especially for us women?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years, and this is kind of, I do add on more muscle as I get closer to a show. But for women, first of all, it is so hard to build muscle. Like genetically, for us as women, with what we have going on, it's difficult. Okay, I've been trying for 10 years to keep building muscle naturally.
Yes.
Now you can increase it with steroids, but I'm a natural bodybuilder,
naturally,
right?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing, and you heard about it on the show if you watched Housewives, it was like, you look like a man. I don't think I look like a man. Like, what I think is it gives you balance.
Yes.
It really isn't about looking masculine. In fact, you can look more feminine bodybuilding, because when I was running a marathon, my body structure was very different.
Yeah.
What you can do with actually lifting weights, and I'm not saying everyone should be a bodybuilder, but let's talk about lifting weights. Strength training.
Yeah, strength.
Strength training, and there's the aesthetic side, and then there's the strength side. On the aesthetic side, you can actually change your aesthetics. Okay, so you broaden your shoulders, so your waist looks narrow, and your bum looks big, which everyone wants our glutes to look bigger, right? So you can actually change it. Now, when you do cardio, you just look like a smaller size of whatever your shape is, but you can actually change. And my body now looks very different from when I was running. Okay, very different. So one, you can change the aesthetics.
Yes.
But two, it's about the strength.
Yes.
It's about, not losing muscle and carrying that muscle through the rest of your life, so you can continue to do the things you want to do. Our the general age now that people are living to is much longer.
Yes.
You don't want to live in a body that's not working for you. Like it's not going to be a good quality of life. So it's about quality of life.
Let's elaborate that more, especially when we are talking about it's a beautiful hack to age gracefully. Because what happens when a woman is leaning into, let's say, late 40s, you're into your perimenopause, toward menopause. What happens to the muscle, to the bones? Can you also mention something around that?
Yeah, but it's not just women, it's men as well. So after 30, we start losing muscle mass.
Yes.
Okay, it's just one of these natural age. So we start aging. Literally after 30, it's downhill, but not. So that's what we're trying to do, is not make it about being downhill.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think we no longer have to accept things that we're declining, that's the end. So, the age that people are living to now is much longer. So maybe in the past, you didn't have to think about, can I live to 100? But really, we can live to 100 now, right? So what happens, especially with women, though, is with menopause, it's a hormonal change. Now, hormones are critical. Like when I talk about fitness, it's a whole fitness and wellness equation. It includes what you're eating, your supplements, timing of eating, how much you're sleeping, how much you're drinking, and how much you're resting. And then, what are your hormones like? Hormones are critical because they are responsible for moving everything around your body, right? So when we say menopause, perimenopause, this is when there's mass hormonal shifts in the body. And everyone's different because we all have different genetics that we've inherited. So, and that's why one solution does not fit all, but what you need to do is learn how your body responds to things. How is your body? What genetically is your predisposition? How did your mom react to menopause, for instance, or perimenopause? And so, the benefits of muscle really are, better metabolism, increasing your muscle mass, right? There's so many different chemical reactions in the body when you lift weights.
The cognitive sense.
Well, it actually releases certain chemicals into the body when you're contracting muscles. I mean, there's a whole science around it. It's called muscle-centric medicine. Okay. And that's now the new science. So it's not about your weight. A lot of people focus on weight. It's about strength. And it's about, it's about consistency and keeping the muscle there. Like when you start losing muscle, you got to do something about it. So the benefits are, it's going to help your mood. It is like for women who are going through menopause, it's going to help you through this. So it's critical.
Yes. And when it comes to speaking about strength training, also there are other benefits other than physical. Can we also talk about mental and self-regulation?
Yes.
Most of our listeners are women in corporate and women in business. We deal with a lot of stressors that are from our professional grounds or social grounds.
Yeah.
How does strength help such a woman react differently, process information differently,
Yes.
and also self-regulate? Using your personal journey, if you can state 2 different incidents where you think you handled the situation better, because you knew you benefited that self-regulation from strength training. Yeah.
I think that's such an important side of it. So we talk about the physical, we talk about the aesthetic, but the mental is the biggest part. And, you know, as I mentioned, you know, I grew up with this balance built into my structure, right? And I really early on learned that I need to get rid of my stress and have a decompression way somewhere else. Now, the problem is people turn to alcohol, drugs, okay? These are all other alternatives, but probably not as healthy, right? So the thing is, we have very stressful lives now from what our ancestors and forefathers had. And in our lives now, you know, the pressure's building. It's just so much. And how do you get rid of the pressure? And the thing about something like cardio as well, but we are talking about strength training, but strength training particularly, when you're lifting weights, your focus is on your breath. There's a lot of breath work. Your connection to your breath is your core, right? You have to use breath in strength training, you know. You got to learn to do that because you can't lift weights if you're not learning
without
breath.
breathing,
Okay, so first of all, it's using breath work. Secondly, it's the focus on the mind. Like when I'm training, I mean, you can't be thinking of other things. You're going to drop the weight on your foot, right? Like it's just not. So it takes you to a place where, to me, it's almost like meditation.
Grounding.
It's grounding. It's meditation. It's time for yourself. It's your appointment with yourself. And
I love that.
you know, it's about a place to unwind, so you're not using unhealthy approaches, right? Like it's very easy to go to the bar and have a drink. I mean, you could do that, but I don't think that's the healthy way. Also, it releases endorphins, right? So the thing about weight training and after doing it at a certain point, it actually starts releasing positive chemicals into your system, as opposed to, again, going to drugs or things for that. So, and when I was head of legal and HR at KK, one of the things we did, and within our benefits plan, was to put a gym membership, right? So I'm wanting more companies to recognize the benefits. And currently, when I recruit people into positions, because now I'm managing partner for a talent firm, and that's one of the things that I do, is really looking to see, do these people have other outlets? And if I see 2 candidates and one candidate, you know, all they do is work all day, and another one might have other interests. I mean, they might be, you know, a runner, or they might be lifting weights, or they might be, I can see that this person has other outlets, and they might actually be a stronger performer at work. It actually gives you clarity in your mind. It helps you think better. It declouds your mind. So I think people don't realize the importance of it, but there's so many benefits to lifting weights, and it's really your own time. And you need to carve that out. This is your me time that you need to go for your body, because you only have one body.
Thank you for that, Farah. Now, coming to you, most of the excuses that we put out here is that, oh, I'm busy, I don't have time, I have busy schedule, I have children, my work is crazy, I can't be consistent, I can't have time to do that. What can you tell women in career who still have this mentality that I can't have time? Where can I get time to do all that and stay consistent?
First of all, we have to look back at, it's actually an issue of self-love, okay? I think, especially as women, we carry so many hats. We're a businesswoman, we're a mother, we have this, we have that. And I think if you approach it from, first of all, why is this important? It's actually a sign of self-love. You need to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So I think if we change, first of all, the discourse around it, okay? And if you change it from just aesthetic, this is no longer an aesthetic issue. We realize the importance of lifting weights, of keeping your muscle mass in the body. For instance, you know, cancer patients actually die because they don't have muscle on their body. That's what they die from, okay? So imagine if you have more muscle, you'll survive cancer. Okay, so this is now a longevity thing. You know, in old age, the falls, the reason what's happening is, you know, your bone strength. Now, when you're working out, you're increasing your bone strength, okay? You're increasing your muscle mass. So should you fall, you will not die. But most deaths as you get into older age are from a fall. I mean, those are the statistics. So you're trying to prevent that. And so one of the things, you know, we're going to be doing as we age and we get into perimenopause, menopause, is checking your bone health, right? Doing a DEXA scan. How is my bone health? You know, how am I doing with fat and muscle, right? Like if you have too much fat, you have all these different lifestyle illnesses that you can pick up. So these are all things, they're all connected, right? But these excuses we make excuses because I don't think we realize how critical it is. So first, know that it's a change in mindset from I need to look good to I need to live. Okay, we need to change that. And second, it's self-love. I'm doing this because I love myself. It's about, this is the only body I have. Let's be clear. You can't be this corporate shark if you don't have the body for it. And then finally, if you're a corporate person, you understand the importance of an appointment. Treat it like an appointment. Right? You have the appointments in your corporate world. Make this, and that's how I do it. I have an appointment with my trainer, pay someone, it'll get you there. Okay, so that's another tip. I actually have a trainer that I meet. I can train myself, but it makes sure that someone's waiting for me and I have to get there.
For accountability.
So have an accountability coach, right? Have someone that keeps you on it. So that is something I do. I do work with people who want an accountability coach and, you know, working with them. And that's the most important thing. If you are not self-motivated, you have to put the structures in place. And I talk a lot about really putting in the structures not to fail and not to have excuses. And we can talk a bit more about what those are. But I mean, these excuses are only hurting yourself, right? Like that's the thing. You can make these excuses, but I think it's a mindset shift, and we've talked about it. You have to make the change in your mind about why you need to be lifting weights and why it's important. And then you won't make those excuses.
You said you have started this journey 10 years ago. You have a whole decade of experience. When you look at it, what are the common mistakes that you see women who are embarking on this journey of strength building or strength training we do make? Sometimes make us fall off of the trail and lose interest, or make us burn out quick very early and then give up, so that we can know, how do I build that level of consistency that is needed?
And you have mentioned it, consistency is the key, right? So it's not about how many hours in the gym. I think it's about consistency. First of all, getting there consistently and keeping that consistency. It's about habit forming. You know, there's a mindset psychology around this, especially it's a change issue in someone's life, right? If you haven't been working out, now you got to change your behavior. Change comes over time, over consistency. You know, do it for 21 days and then it becomes a habit, I say. And then you do it for 90 days and it starts becoming a lifestyle. So first of all, you would start with saying, okay, I'm going to do this for 30 days. Just tell yourself I'm going to do it for 30 days. I'm going to go work out. Don't have to do ridiculously heavy weights. Like sometimes the issue is people go in, they overdo it. It's the first day. It's the first day in the gym and they'll spend 3 hours, they'll get an injury and they won't go back. And they're like, that's not for me. Okay, so I think you need to first educate yourself, right? On, and we did this when we did the event with you, right? Which body part, why you're doing this, you need to be informed. And today, again, there are no excuses. You know, when I started 10 years ago, it was way back early in the days of the internet. There were not many influencers or fitness athletes or anyone putting stuff on the internet, right?
Or free resources you can watch.
Today, there's so much out there. So first of all, if you want it for free, go online, look at resources. Second, hire a coach to help you. And there's so many coaches out there, right? You got to find someone that works with your personality and will help you get there. Everyone has a different approach. Some coaches are, you know, they're really mean, and that doesn't work with some people. That's not their style. So you find a coach that works with you. And then, you know, you basically start implementing this in a way that is sustainable. It's about building a new habit, being consistent, not overdoing it, so you don't get injured. And then really, the other thing is it goes hand in hand with nutrition, sleep, diet. So, you know, you need to look at all of that. So one of the things I do when I do work with people, and whether I work with them or not, you need to look at an audit of your current lifestyle. I think it's a reset. So if anyone's listening to the show, it's like sit back and go, what is my current lifestyle? Is it the best? It's about consciousness, and we've talked a lot about this. be conscious in your lifestyle and your actions and your choices.
Yes.
So now you're conscious about this is where small changes I can make. And even in nutrition, like if you're having, like us Kenyans, like, 4 teas a day with 3 teaspoons of sugar.
And 4 chapatis.
Right. And 4 chapatis, then like stop eating the chapatis for like a while, right? Or I actually used to love sugar in my coffee.
Yeah.
So I would like be having like 2 spoons, like literally. I mean, I used to have a terrible diet, but I've learned this over time now that actually nutrition is 70%, right? Weightlifting is very important, but nutrition is 70%.
I sat with this girl.
Yeah.
She took 1, 2, 3 grains of almond. And this is it for breakfast. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah. So
1, 2, 3. Were they 3? Yeah.
Well, that was when I was counting so almonds are fat. So you do need to have healthy fats, right?
Yes.
In your diet. You need to have healthy carbs for your energy. And you definitely
need to
have
come
protein.
in my home and see how I scoop that jar.
Well, that's the thing, right? So 12 almonds is like, I think it's 200 calories or something. So it's we're not conscious. And if I could probably eat the whole jar as well, but I
Ever
have to be
since that
conscious.
time, I don't.
Oh, really?
I don't. I just sort of 1, 2, 3, and you said, that's all. That's my morning breakfast with a small cup of coffee. And that was it.
Oh, no. That was my snack. You should see how much I eat. So I eat 5 times a day, actually. So I do eat a lot.
Yeah, that's
that was
a
my
snack.
Yeah.
Imagine, for me, I will take that whole...
Yeah.
Plus maybe apple, plus maybe 1 cup of mala milk. So it's a lot. As you said, it's a mindset shift.
Yeah. You really have to look at what are my habits? What can I change? We because we're busy, we're not conscious of other things. A lot of the times we do things in autopilot. And, also when I worked at a desk, I'm busy. I don't have time to think. This is where meal prepping comes into play. So, when you are doing strength training, food is very important. What are you eating? Do you have those close to you? Like, are you running for the nearest chocolate bar? So all of this it's holistic, right? So my brand is very holistic. It's mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
It's, you can definitely be very focused on the mind and work and all of that, but then you're going to forget about the body. You need to. So for me, food is like fuel, right? It's not. We do a lot of social entertaining around food and alcohol.
Yes.
But we need to also shift and be conscious that we're putting the right things into our body, so we could, when we go to the gym, lift strong and have the energy. And if we're not eating enough, but so this is, you're asking me, what do people do wrong?
Yeah.
So they'll go work out for hours, but they won't eat. And actually that is counter-effective, because the body has a natural mechanism where it then starts spiking cortisol. We talked about how hormones are so important.
Yeah.
And that cortisol now is going to break down your muscle to create fuel for your workouts if you're not eating enough. And that's counterintuitive, because remember, we're going to the gym to build muscle.
Yes.
If what we're doing and going to the gym and not doing it correctly, not eating correctly, is actually decreasing our muscle, then what is the point? So it's really about understanding these things and doing it all in a, as a holistic model to improving your life for the future and for anti-aging.
Thank you. You mentioned something around a hormone.
Yeah.
And hormone is part of us, especially women who are aging, let's say from 30 going onwards.
Yeah.
And how does strength training plus good diet help us also in terms of hormone? And what are available ways, either here in Kenya or abroad, where people can go and test themselves? What are the things that they need to test in order to know, I need to supplement this, I need to check my calcium, I need to check my iron, I need to such a thing.
Yes. So a lot of this is, we're talking about this because we want to be proactive.
Yes.
The reason we're having this conversation is we want to see how to age well and gracefully, and what can we do. And again, as busy people, we forget to take care of ourselves. So regular screening, and right now the ways to screen, there's a lot of like lab work, and then there's actually scans that you can do, right? And I've just completed like a whole process around this. So it's really important to get the annual screening done with a credible lab that has good test results. And so in that screening, you want to look at the metabolic markers, right? Your kidney function, your liver. So all those things have to be looked at on your blood work, okay? If you have a cancer in the family background, you want to get those screened, right? For the men, the prostate; for the women, like the cervical, all of that. Then you want to get your chest x-rays, your heart, your mammograms, your pap smears. So I really recommend getting those things done because, again, especially for me as an athlete, I feel I'm fine, everything's great, I don't need to go to a doctor. But the thing is, you don't know what's happening inside your body, how things are reacting. Now, on the hormones, look, the major ones we talk about for some of these issues that you need to look at are cortisol. So you can measure your cortisol. You want to look at testosterone, progesterone, your estrogen, right? Those are the things, prolactin, DHEA. So these are all different hormones.
The thyroid?
Thyroid, right? So these are all, and so what you want to do, so when you talk to doctors about, will these things actually tell you if you're in menopause or perimenopause? Probably not, but they could give you a guide.
Yes.
But the hormones are regulators in your system. Now, through working out, you can actually regulate some of the hormones, right? You can actually increase your testosterone by working out, right? And your growth hormone. So you can actually influence your natural body. I've actually always been, because thyroid conditions are genetic, my mom has thyroid issues. So I've always been on the borderline thyroid, but I've always managed to control it because of my eating and my working out. So what I'm telling you is some of these issues can be preventable by working out and regulating through there. And then the other things is, you got to check them. And then the other question would be, do we have hormone replacement therapy, which is a big question, right?
Yes.
But it's the same way as, and so you definitely also want to look at your insulin, right? That's another one you want to look at. So I am working with labs to now get like a hormone profile that you can just go do. The other thing would be to look at your bone density and do a DEXA scan. So the DEXA is gold standard because even if you do an MRI, it's not as good as doing a DEXA. So the DEXA scan will tell you where are your places in your body to have a fracture. That's what you want to find out. That's why bone strength is important, is if you are being affected because of menopause or genetic issues, you have osteopenia or aging or osteoporosis, then you want to make sure that you know early on where the issues are. And also you can start supplementing with vitamin D and calcium, right? Vitamin D, K, and calcium for the bone health. And so I think it's really critical. And then also look at minerals. Like we don't always see how important minerals are, like zinc, magnesium, copper, like any imbalance can really cause havoc in your system. So it's important to monitor these. And, also with supplements, there's a thing like over supplementing. Like, supplements are going now to individualization. So for instance, if I go to a store and I take a multivitamin, but I already have high zinc, I could put myself in critical high zinc situation and not realize it. I'm not at home measuring this thing, but now if you do it at least once a year and you've been taking zinc supplements, which actually happened to me, then you'll be like, oh, wait a minute. So I stopped taking my zinc because somehow I had extra zinc because I was taking ZMA and then I was taking other, and I was like,
or sometimes it's a combination.
Right. And so I think you got to be careful and again, take ownership of your health. Like this is nobody else going to do it for you. And being proactive is better than reactive, right? It's better than so that's why I think getting tested. But we also now know how important working out is and a bit of cardio for the heart health and doing the lifting for the muscle health. And then of course, mobility stretching, which I really don't like and I'm forcing myself to do. But as we age, we need to still keep our mobility with our body, right?
I love that. Thank you so much for that elaborated answer. I would like to know, we have younger women as well who are listening to us, who probably could have ambition like yours of wanting to go into bodybuilding as a career or just to want to pursue it for leisure. Where can they find mentorship? Do you mentor women in the same, or do you have any reference that you can give them?
Yeah. So I do take on women who want to bodybuild. Bodybuilding itself is there's so many elements to it. When I get on stage, I've spent like already 3 to 4 months prepping for a show. I do have a coach overseas. Now, everyone has a coach. So even I have a coach. Like you always, there's nothing like you know it all. And so I have a coach and I recommend people, if you want to go into bodybuilding, have a coach. But first, start educating yourself on lifting, getting into the gym. But, I think getting a coach early helps so you're not doing things wrong. Proper form is so important so you also don't get injured.
Yeah.
And then really it's about setting aside the budget. The sport of bodybuilding is very expensive. So you need a coach, you need a gym, you need to eat clean. Surprisingly, eating clean costs more than eating KFC.
Yes.
Right?
It does.
So if I'm going to be eating chicken and eggs, and I know these things actually are more expensive, right? And you want to be doing them yourself, and you don't want to be eating, you don't want to be having seed oil. So you want to be moving to like either, olive oil or coconut oil. And these are more expensive. So first of all, eating clean costs money.
Yes.
Then you need to get yourself to a show, right? Once you're ready and you feel like you can compete. Now, there are 1 or 2 shows locally now that you can start. Okay, so there's Kamakunji, and now there's Mr. and Miss East Africa that's being held. It's going to be in October. So pick a show, and my first show I trained for 7 weeks. I didn't even think I was ready. I'd never done a show, but you have to start somewhere, right? Yeah. So you start somewhere, and you pick a show, and then you need a bikini to be on stage. And you need somebody to tell you which category. Now, there's many different categories in bodybuilding, like which category you're going to compete. So someone needs to advise you. Then you need to learn a stage presence.
Yes.
Kind of like how you teach etiquette, right?
Yeah. I've seen the kind of modeling, how you walk.
Exactly. So now there's stage presence, and, then you've got to have enough money to travel. If you're going overseas, to stay in a hotel, to pay for the show. Look, so it's an expensive sport, but it is, if you're someone who likes competition, it's a great way to get into the sport and look to compete. And, I think Kenyans naturally, like, we have some great bodybuilders. Like, we have great genetics, and our natural food, the sukuma, the natural greens that we'll eat are so great. The ugali, not too much. We're not talking about a whole plate. We're talking about a little bit of ugali, right? So I think we have the ability to have some great talent. And now, from when I started, when there were like 2 of us on stage, now we have like 20 women in bikini. We have women who are doing wellness, which is another category, figure. So the sport is changing. So it's also, you need to understand. So right now they've just introduced a whole new category called fit model into the bodybuilding, which just started this year. And even all of us in the sport are trying to understand, even for myself, do I compete in this new one? Do I stay in the old one? What do I do? The sport is also changing. So you need to be with someone who understands the sport, strategically which show to go to. But I'm happy to, if anyone wants to, enter it, to, have a coffee, talk to them about it, help them with their posing, help them with their diet. So I do take on, but I do need people to be committed when they want to do this. It's a sport of commitment, discipline. You may lose friends, you may lose family sometimes, but you have. It does take a lot of discipline to be a bodybuilder.
Thank you so much. Other than bodybuilding, advocating for strength training and wellness, you have also come up with a brand that do the same. Would you like to speak about that? She also does engagement talks around corporate, around fitness, around wellness. So if you ever want a speaker in those areas, she's here. I would like you to also tell us more about your person, the way you have come up with this particular brand. And what should we expect?
Okay. Well, thanks so much for that. And thank you for the kind words. So, I'm a complicated woman, but I think all women are complicated. So really, I stand for, there's multiple layers to a woman. I think gone are the days. Are you
complicated? You are diverse.
I'm diverse and complicated. There's many levels to me. And so I think one of the things my brand and I stand for is permission to do that. I stand before people as, I have a corporate hat, I have a fitness hat, I have a spiritual hat, I have different hats. And so, all of us wants to, in some way, have made a dent. Why are we here? How have we left this place better than when we came? What did we contribute? Right? And so in doing that, my brand really is exactly that. Permission for women to know, like in my younger years, I spent a lot of time trying to fit into a mold. We try and fit into a mold a lot, right? It's the mold of a daughter. It's then the corporate mold. You have to look a certain way. Now I can wear whatever I want. I don't care. But before, if you invited me, I'd be wearing my black suit as a lawyer.
Corporate rule.
Right? It took me a while to break out of that label. So I think how the journey of life is, you start trying to fit into labels, especially here, we've had to try and fit into labels. But I think it's about permission to be yourself. I think I could only do that as I got older. And that's the power of being a woman beyond 40.
Yes.
Like you get your confidence to do these things, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you're younger, you're like trying to figure it out and fit into these molds and fit into everything. And so my brand really is, I have the corporate side where I now do speaking engagements, I MC, I work with boards.
Yes.
I work in the talent space where I hire executives and non-executives, and I do a lot of board advisory retreats, strategic retreats. So that's the mental side. One has to have that. I mean, you can't just work on your body all day, right? I mean, that's the thing. Because again, it's about mind-body balance.
Yes.
So the body side is I'm really trying to grow my fitness brand where I've got all this experience to be able to share it. And really the things that I've learned, things that I like. So, coming through are like a meal prep. I've been working on this for a while.
Yes.
And more because I really want to bring international standards. I want to make sure that this is something that it's what the customer wants and it meets the requirements, price points, all of that. So the meal prep is something I'm working on my fitness brand, gymwear, and other products.
Yes.
And I like different interesting things, so designing it, but I also want build Africa, make Africa, and finding the right partner here for these products has taken me a while.
Yes.
And so building that out and, also working on a podcast like you. I want to leave my legacy like you, Coach Alice, and really want to talk about the nuggets I have on wellness and the wellness equation and talking about critical topics right now and really anti-aging. Like my journey is really now, I've fallen into this, but it's really about anti-aging, biohacking. What are the things I can be doing?
Yes.
I love to experiment with new things like ice baths. I'm now looking into stem cells.
Yeah, I saw you.
Yeah. I'm looking into stem cells now. Like I like to, but the thing about my brand also is I really believe the power is in authenticity. Everyone has their own authentic brand, and this is my authentic brand. And I wouldn't stand behind anything that I haven't tried.
Yes.
I'm not someone who believes in. And so my brand is about bringing things I believe in, I've tested, I've tried, I know they're good. And partnerships and collaboration.
Yes.
So it's reaching more people through collaborations. And then on the spirit mind side, I'm also doing a lot around breath work, mental mindset. So a lot of this starts actually with the mindset.
Yes, it does.
So that's why it's a holistic brand, and really bringing products that work with my values and my brands and partnerships. So, right now I work with Aquamist and USN. I do have other partners where I'll try things on myself. I'll be the guinea pig. So I am working with a testing center to bring different testing to the market where I've tried them. I like their results. And so, I'm going to be bringing these things to the market, and that's the goal. And it's finding the time to do it all, as you know.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
The intentionality around it is what really matter. And let the universe align them one by one.
Yes.
Okay, great. What is something that you would tell our listener to keep minding when it comes to strength training for those who haven't started, or those who feel demotivated, those who feel like they need the regular motivation? What is something that you would tell them?
Oh, I can't use one word. Okay.
One sentence?
I mean, I'm a big fan
paragraph?
of Nike, so it'd be just do it is the first thing. Get in. I think you have to, you just have to overcome your fears and just get into the gym. Sometimes we just, it's an unfriendly place. It is for sure, right?
Yes,
like, you like go in, you're like, which equipment do I use? But that's why having a coach who will eliminate that for you. And, I'm happy to do that. Go to your gym of choice and show you the workouts of where you are. So I think it's just do it. Like it's so critical. Like you have to remove the barriers and the excuses that we talked about. I think the people that go spend hours and hours and hours doing cardio, you're just breaking into your muscle. Like this whole new thing with paddle, like no offense to paddle, but it's taking women who playing 4 hours of paddle and they're cutting into their muscle. Even serious bodybuilders, if they're going to work past 1 hour in the gym, will take intra carbs, so you're not cutting into your muscle. So it's when you understand the body's physique and the mechanism, you know that you need to be doing everything to preserve the muscle after 30 years of age. Right? This is critical. So you're always thinking. So I think just do it, and consciousness. Do everything with consciousness.
I love that. because that's the purpose of this. The intentionality that you put, that you put in everything that you do is going to bring either result or ruin.
Exactly. So I would say, it's not too late. I started quite late and I wish I'd started sooner, but doing it with intentionality. I talked about when I did my 20s, I don't know what I was doing. Like, why was I doing lunges? Like, what is the purpose? So consciousness of why you're doing something. It really, that mind-body connection, that's what we're talking about. In everything you do, whether it's at work, at the gym, you got to know why you're doing it, what you're doing, and what it's doing for you, and knowing what you're doing and not going into autopilot. It's got to be conscious.
Amazing. Is there anywhere our listeners, people who are looking forward to become bodybuilders or who want to start strength training, people who want to invite you to speak about or do their wellness assessment with their team, or people who want to invite you to be an board advisor, where can they find you?
First, they can contact you because we collaborate. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. So Farah.ismail. I'm also managing partner at Boyden. So you can contact me at fismail@boyden.com. Okay,
so we will put down any particular information that you'd like to share so that they can reach you, and then check whatever you have to offer, and then also different product that you have currently so that they can be able to get in touch.
Yes, please get in touch. Get in touch with me and get in touch with somebody who will start the journey. It's about, reach out. We don't all know everything. Everyone had to start somewhere. I had to start somewhere. I didn't even really know what I was doing. If you look back at my early bodybuilding shows, it was quite hilarious. So there's no shame. It's interesting. I watched a podcast about vulnerability.
Yes.
Be vulnerable. That you don't know. There's no shame in not knowing, and just do it. That's my answer to your question.
Thank you so much. We are so glad and honored to host you, Farah.
Thank you.
Keep the amazing job that you're doing. You keep inspiring young people and older women like myself. And demystifying strength training, encouraging people to do it not only for their strength benefit, but also for their mental clarity, regulating their emotions. We really appreciate you, and I hope to have you again one more time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Such
Looking forward to have you in our next episode.